to another Wright Stew podcast. I am Paul Stewart.
And I am Brian Wright, and we've made it to Wednesday, which is good. It's good when you make it a hump day again. We're just going on this little cycle of life, and we're halfway through the week again.
Yeah, we're just cruising on through, but the year just burning through the year.
Yeah,
first quarter of the year is almost over.
I've realized, like, as you get older, obviously the relevance to how long you've been alive to days gets greater and greater and greater. And so the days appear to go much faster, but it is crazy. You got girls in college. I've got a senior in high school, and I can still vividly remember being a senior in high school. And, it's just crazy.
What was senior year Brian Wright like? When did you sign at NC State? When did you have your scholarship locked up?
I was a junior. I was a junior
okay.
when I
signed. So you knew going into your senior year you were going to state. Did you have good grades?
Yeah, that wasn't an option in the Wright household. I mean, I wasn't an A student, but I was a 3.55, and
that's really good. So did you take some courses your senior year that were like kind of the senior year kind of courses, or did you challenge yourself?
I feel like it's kind of become, and maybe other people did it, but I feel like it's kind of become a kind of a modern day thing to where you just kind of mail it in your senior year. I don't remember mailing it in my senior year. I mean, I'm sure I wasn't taking, extra calculus classes or anything like that, but I don't remember like trying to get after it. That much more.
I nailed it in pretty hard. I feel like I did not challenge myself to a great extent. But yeah, I was saying I had my scholarship locked up my junior year. Had good enough grades to get into state. I think I had a couple gym classes. Well, I had weightlifting and gym. I had a class called Peppy, where you would go to elementary schools and basically teach gym to elementary schools. I had a class for half the year called Future Decisions in Science, which was actually a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one. Had English because you had to take English. It was advanced English. I took I took Algebra 2 for the second time.
You don't see, I was already past Algebra 2. I was in pre-cal and trig. You don't seem like a guy.
I was terrible at math. I'm decent. I'm good at like just like averages and stats and stuff like that. But I was not. Once you started throwing letters into math, didn't care for it. Didn't care.
It doesn't really feel like math. I mean, I wonder if we couldn't go back and redo some school. I feel like a personal finance class is important. I feel like
changing a car tire.
Yeah, some basic like car basics,
right? Or maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brian, speaking of, hold on. And then my senior, I took Latin 3 because I'd already taken 2 years of it. It's like, let's just finish this thing out. And so Algebra 2, actually, I took it my junior year and passed it with, it was either like a D+ or a C-. But I was like, I'm through this thing. Just wasn't good at it. I probably didn't care enough about it. But at the end of the year, I'm like getting my course ready for the next year. And Miss Hardy, my math teacher, she goes, Paul, I really think you should challenge yourself and take this course again and do better. And I was like, ugh. So you kind of put the guilt trip on me. I'm like, man, I had signed up for, they called it like tech math. It was like dumb math. It was something you just took to cruise on. And that's what I was trying to do. So I ended up taking it. Miss Hardy guilted me into it. I took it again. I literally had the same class. I had it first period 2 years in a row. I sat in the exact same seat 2 years in a row. And I knew there was a couple of sophomores in there looking at me like I was just the biggest
idiot. Big dummy.
Yeah, and I didn't care. It was first period, pretty quiet, just kind of sat there. But Miss Hardy really liked me. Anytime I was in the newspaper for basketball or baseball, she would put my picture up on the wall or the article and stuff like that. So thanks, Miss Hardy.
Were we having kind of a Miss Robinson type situation there?
No. I think Miss Hardy was actually dating one of the football coaches for a little while in the school. So
I don't know. It seems to be happening a lot. Maybe it's just more news of it, but it seems to be where a teacher-student type inappropriate relationship happens a lot more. I will say, I feel like the teachers are more attractive now than they were when we came through. I mean, nor here nor there. I'm not,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That was my yeah, one of my senior year you do your parting quotes wherever in the yearbook, and hey, what things will you miss? And I put one of mine was Miss Smitherman, who was an attractive young teacher at the time.
Oh, good for you. Good for you shooting your shot. And you weren't even 18 yet. Hey, I have a buddy of mine that when he was in college, he was flirting on the edge of eligibility. And he had failed a class or was going to fail a class. Even if he aced the final, wasn't going to do it, didn't matter. He writes the teacher a letter, like a handwritten letter,
Yeah.
gives it to the teacher. He says, "Hey, I got to have a C so I can stay eligible," and begs his way. Teacher gives him a C. College keeps it moving.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I used to write little notes to my teachers, like on tests and quizzes, like, "Hey, Miss Brocious, I really like that dress you're wearing today. It looks fantastic on you. Please
Did
give
you
me a good
really?
grade." I
Did you
wrote it
really?
like all the time. Yeah.
Did it? I mean, I think now if somebody
It
wrote
never,
that,
no,
you'd be like,
it never worked. They knew it was like I wasn't being like I was being genuine in my compliment, but I wasn't truly expecting like a better grade or any sort of thing like that.
"Well, I
And
think you'd
they
almost
would
get
always
trouble
write
for
back
like
like,
sexual harassment if you did that now." "Oh, you
no,
look
no, it was
great. Your
never.
body fits great in that dress."
I didn't
That
say
was
their
the
bodies. I would
description.
say, hey, that dress looks great. It's very nice. It compliments your eye. Yeah, something like that. I can probably find some old papers and show you one of these. And they would typically write something back like, "Thank you, but you need to earn your grade," or something like that. I'm like, ugh,
So
this
you
is
were
the worst.
trying to sell early, which is good.
Yeah, yeah. Just like I was like,
I
hey,
mean, really, I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, I know college is kind of a qualifier for jobs, right? It's kind of that piece of paper, you got to get. But like, I don't know what percentage. You basically got three occupations, maybe four occupations you can do post college. You got sales, you got various forms of engineering, whether it be computer, civil, mechanical, chemical, whatever. And then you got, you know, um,
well, healthcare, like doctors,
healthcare.
nurses.
That
Yeah.
was my other one, healthcare. And then you kind of got like a public service, right? So police officer, kind of.
Teacher, firefighter.
Yeah, so you got basically four career opportunities. If you're, and now there's tons of variations off of them,
Yeah, there's
but
variables within
I mean,
each.
I think
Yeah.
there's probably, I bet in America, 50%. I'm just gonna make up stats. 50% of jobs are got to be sales. I don't necessarily think college. Maybe it does prepare you, and I just didn't take advantage of the resources out there. I'm not real sure that there's a real good need for college in regards to, hey, if you're going out and you're going to go try to hustle something.
No, I've never been a big proponent of college, unfortunately. So when I got done playing baseball, let's take this to the sports world, Brian. So when I got done playing baseball, I went out and said, "Hey, like I'm gonna get a job. Can't be that hard to get a job, right? Everybody knows got one." And as it turns out, there was kind of a recession going on, 2006, seven, that time frame. And I would go on these job interviews, and people would say, "Well, oh, like you need your degree for this job." And I wasn't going to be an engineer. I wasn't going to be a doc. I was applying to sales jobs, right? And so it says, "You need your degree. If it's between Brian and Paul, and he has his degree, we're taking Brian." And I just took it on the chin at face value. I'm like, "Yep, he's got his degree. Must be smarter." And then I started thinking, well, I played with a bunch of guys who have their 4-year degrees. I know a bunch of people who have their 4-year degrees, and they may be smarter, but may not be smarter, but they're certainly not like wildly more capable of doing things than me. I'm a, and so I started pushing back a little bit, and I said, "Hey, well," I'd go in these job interviews, and it would start going down that path, and they'd say, "Well, hey, you don't have your degree, but we appreciate you coming in." I was like, "Well, hold on. Why do I need this degree for this sales role?" "Oh, well, yeah, well, it's something that says you can, achieve it." I'm like, "It's okay. So you just said you had a training program that's 2 weeks, a month, whatever it is that you could teach me. So you don't think I'm capable of doing this training program?" "Oh, no, that's not what we're saying." I said, "Well, that's what it sounds like you're saying." And then I said, "Well, what does this degree mean? Why do you have to have it?" I was like, "Oh, well, it's a time in life when you grow and mature, and I was like, that's just called being 18 to 22 years old. That's what that is.
Or you could have said, I spent 10 years in minor league baseball learning how to take care of not only myself, but trying to improve on my profession, meeting all kinds and dealing with all kinds of different people, different from all kinds of different backgrounds. I mean, I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like, yeah,
And no, and I try, maybe I didn't sell it well enough, but a lot of people's last interaction with sports, typically from their personal experience, is little league, 12, 13 years old, right?
high school.
High school maybe, where you show up an hour before the game, go to McDonald's, Taco Bell,
Inter-
whatever.
hey,
After,
intramurals in college where you're
yeah,
boozing and then go on to go
yeah,
play a
going out and
sport
boozing after the game with you. So again, nothing wrong with
before
that.
or
But
during.
again,
Yeah.
the like to your point, the college degree, it was a hindrance for me, and I think it's changing now, where people are realizing it's not mission critical, right?
I don't know. I don't know, Paulie. I mean, you think about some of the roles that you had. Obviously, you worked for a place, a big, IT firm for a long period of time. I bet there's not a person there that doesn't have a number of.
I knew a couple who didn't have college degrees. I don't know, and a lot of it's because they had great experience, and somebody gave them a chance early on, and they kind of fought their way through. And
But they were definitely the exception, other than
yeah, no, while because that's what I ended up going back, going to school after baseball, working kind of some jobs, and then doing school, and then I got my degree, and I was comfortable with where I was, and but my wife was like, "Hey, you got your degree. All these doors were slammed in your face, and now you have the golden ticket." And so I went out and started applying, or applied to one role, and got it right. And I was I was no different of a person. Like yeah,
you
I
just
mean,
spent your college money.
the baseball
Uh,
gave me, yeah, but at the
yeah.
same time, that was one thing, and I hammered on that for a long time, right? I didn't. I saw
Hey,
it.
you were in some leadership roles. Did you ever interview guys that had no degree and you consider them almost as like a spirit animal?
No, I mean, I interviewed a lot of people, and by the time I got to them, I assumed that they had checked all the prerequisite boxes, whatever HR or recruiting needed them to do. So I did do a lot of interviews, but I looked at the resume, and typically they had college degrees. Some of the things I did look for, I was, always looked at the college, didn't really care what college was, but if I saw student athlete on it, man, they moved to the top of my list, right? Love that. And those became kind of my spirit animals a little bit, and liked hearing those stories. And man, it really kind of opened my eyes up too, because I was used to, like, yeah, I was going to go to a big D1 school, but a lot of young people going to, small D, like my kids are at now, small D3 schools or NAIA or other, but it's all the same, right? You're lifting, you're working out, you're part of a team, you're building the camaraderie, you're building the work ethic, you're building the discipline. Um, Again, sports, really valuable for a lot of life lessons, um, hardships, tough times, right? And dealing with tension on the team, dealing with drama on the team, and communicating people from different cultures and different backgrounds and different parts of the country. Like, just so many things you can learn from sports, especially at higher levels.
No, I don't disagree with you. We've obviously, I'm going to take this a different direction. So we've obviously, you go to your kids' games, your post game fast food restaurant, your top two or three that, like, all right, I'm hitting this or I'm hitting this. What is your go to fast food post game, either with your kids or even when you were younger and you're driving, playing, whatever the case may be?
Gosh, I don't discriminate a whole lot between fast foods. I'm pretty wide open. I mean, McDonald's has been a staple for so long. I got into a big Burger King run in high school. Love the BK broiler. I think they call
They
it
had
they call
those
it some.
oblong chicken sandwiches
Oh,
for
they
the
had the
longest
long
time.
chicken sandwiches. Yeah, they call it something different now. I mean, but we would go crush like a 20 pack of Taco Bell soft tacos too. Uh,
Taco Bell's low on my totem pole. I don't
yeah,
know. It just doesn't
and
hit
pro
for me.
and pro ball. I remember specifically in 1998, they brought back the chalupas, the ones with the big fat bready. Where's that Gorditas? Chalupa's Gorditas one. The big fat bready taco, and my man Kevin Preeby, Doug Johnston, and Phil Kendall were my roommates, and we would hit up that Taco Bell across the street from our apartment complex. Like, gosh, man, probably 3-4 times a week. There was also a place up there called Fazoli's that we don't have a lot of in North. Have you ever heard of Fazoli's?
No.
It's like fast food Italian.
Well, I'm not a huge Italian guy. I'm not a red sauce.
Yeah, well, they had red sauce, white sauce, but you would go to their dining room and there was a lady who would just walk around with a basket of breadsticks. And there you go, like just hand you breadsticks. It was,
you just kill them.
We would eat like 15 a piece, yeah. But my kids, they're more like fried chicken. They like Bojangles and Chick-fil-A, and I mean that Chick-fil-A wasn't really an option for us growing up, but
no, it wasn't. I was a big Wendy's guy. I feel like that's a restaurant that's really fallen off. It used to be very high on my list. There's a great distinction between certain Wendy's that are pretty good and other ones that are terrible. But yeah, Wendy's used to be really high on my list. It's really fallen down.
Yeah, man. But again, I'm not. Should probably eat this, good in, good out sort of thing. Better fuel for your.
Probably should. Probably shouldn't even be eating. You should go home, make you something homemade, whole, whatever.
Yeah, what's always interesting too is so with my daughters in the softball world, we would because we knew we were going to be there all day. Softball is kind of a different animal than baseball, right? Yeah. Because you play a couple pool games and then you're playing bracket games like that same afternoon because you got 2 or 3 pitchers who are kind of doing the whole weekend, maybe 4, right? If you've got a couple arms on the team, but we would pack coolers. We would have sodas and Gatorades and waters and bubbly waters, and we would have grapes or strawberries and snacks and like the whole thing for the whole day. We would typically just stay at the fields, but with our boys, like we're playing 2 games max.
And if we got a big gap in between, we're going somewhere.
Yeah, we're figuring that out. So it's just kind of a different world between the baseball and football. And I think as we get older with baseball, it's going to be probably still 2 games a day, but maybe 1 sometimes.
Yeah, you can't really. It's hard to play 3. I mean, it's just with arms and everything else. No bueno. Yeah. I'm not a fan of the time limits. I don't know how you do it within confines of a schedule. I would love for, the good thing is about middle school baseball, you go back to the only goal really is keep kids safe and healthy, but trying to win. That's kind of your only kind of goal. Like travel baseball, you're trying to let kids, especially as they get older, kind of exhibit whatever their good skill is, whether it be pitching, hitting, running, whatever. The good thing about just school ball in general is, hey, you're just trying to win. There's not really any other motivation, and that's rare with so much travel.
Yeah, and one of the things, and I noticed this first with softball because my older kids are softball players. It was a weird transition for especially the freshmen and even to their sophomore years to play a just genuine 7-inning ball game. You play 7 innings in softball, and in high school baseball you play 7. But they didn't understand the concept early on of wait, just 1 game and we have to play all 7 innings? Because typically there's an hour and 15 time limit, maybe sometimes hour and 30. And you're not getting through the whole game in that usually. I mean, sometimes you do if you get a couple of good pitchers, and then so I think they had to learn how to win a full game because they're used to playing, 4, maybe 5 innings typically. But then they had another game with and either right then or like a couple hours later, it's like, wait, there's not another game. We're just playing 1 today. And so it's different, man, and it takes a different kind of mentality and a different kind of physical presence as well to just stay kind of pumped up and going. Those girls are singing and cheering and chanting and screaming and
and I know we're neither one very rah-rah guys. Did you become rah-rah just because that is softball culture?
No, man, I didn't. No, that's all the girls in the dugout. It's not like the fans are doing the. I thought.
Yeah, but you coached. You coached. You were a coach guy. Like you see guys get team, like at least at the younger ages, and not even really that young, really. Like you see coaches get together. It's like, all right, I want to hear you get loud in the dugout. It's like,
no, we were never.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that produces.
we would get on the girls if they weren't focused, if they're kind of messing around. You could kind of tell that. But our girls were always really good, really focused, paid attention, and were good teammates, helping each other out, sort of thing. On the majority of the teams they played on, I can't really think of any time it was a real issue. But no, I was never like, let's get pumped up. Never.
Yeah, get your cheers going.
Yeah, I like maybe when they're 5 and 6, you had some fun. Do like a slow clap or something just to get them going a little bit, but never. Like I'm coaching my 7-year-old daughter's team. We'll probably do something fun with that, and so we're the Orioles. So like we have Baltimore Orioles caps and we have orange jerseys, and so we had our first practice this weekend. And so we're at the end. We do our thing. We do a little relay race at the end, and we're at the end doing our team huddle. We're going 1, 2, 3. I wanted to say let's go O's because that's what they. We went to a game at Camden. Gosh, I've been to a few at Camden. Let's go.
Yeah, they're big.
That's what they say, and I think the kids were like, what does that mean? I said, well, we're the Orioles. Like, the Orioles, what is that? I was like, it's a bird. Like, is it a red bird? I was like, no, it's an orange and black bird. And so they didn't even know what team they were on, apparently. And so I was like, and one girl was like, that sounds like Oreos. I was like, it does. I was like, should we say 1, 2, 3 Oreos? Like, yeah. So now we said, we've only done once. We go 1, 2, 3 Oreos. Like that's our chant. So
I like that.
That's what we're doing. So Brian, we talked about long games the other day, and I'm just going to bring this up real quick. It's worth the mention.
It is.
We're Brian and I are in Raleigh, North Carolina, or thereabouts. But we are one of the teams in the conference that my daughters played in is called Southeast Raleigh, the Southeast Raleigh Bulldogs. Decent athletic program, but their softball program is not good, just objectively bad. There's another one down the street in Johnson County called Smithfield Selma, the Smithfield Selma Spartans, affectionately known as Triple S. Also, they've had some decent programs, but really bad softball. So 2 years ago, in March of 2023, they set a national record, Brian, for runs in a game. Southeast Raleigh won that game 58-40. It's 98 runs in a game. And I promise you, there wasn't a lot of hitting going on. There was a lot of walks, a lot of hit batters, a lot of pass ball.
Can you imagine being an umpire, dude? You just start expanding the zone from like batter's box to batter's box. Yeah. I think I do.
Yeah. I mean, I taught my dad umpires. I taught him about it. He's like, man, you probably expanded a little bit, but you've got to be reasonable. He's like, you can't just start ringing people up. But so anywho, so that's pretty impressive, pretty crazy. I don't know what you want to call it. Not
impressive. I think
right. But a couple days ago, Southeast Raleigh and Triple S matched up again. And believe it or not, Brian, they topped that record. Southeast Raleigh won the game 57-42 for 99 total runs. Breaking their own.
I think once you get above, I don't know. I know there's ain't there run rules in that?
You have to. It's like 10 after 5 or 10 after 4 or something. But they're always within like 10 runs of each other. So so they did run rule them because they won by 15. But 50,
hey, what do you think about this? Like, I know in like the Premier League in like soccer across the big pond, like you can get demoted.
Oh, relegation, yeah.
And so, what if we had relegation in like high school sports? Like you would have like a 8A team in this sport. You may have a 2A team in this sport. What's your thoughts? And then you obviously work your way up.
I mean, I think it's probably a good idea. It's probably way too confusing. I mean, they're about to change the way they do the North Carolina High School Athletics Association.
It's going to get dumber.
Yeah, they're about to make it more divisions and higher levels, and it's all based on enrollment and geography and things like that. But I think it's an interesting idea. I think both of those schools probably need to disband their softball team for a couple of years until they can put a product on the field.
Or they need to pay a pitcher, dude. I mean, softball is one of the few sports, and I guess baseball to some extent, but softball even more. If you have a dominating pitcher, you can totally control the game. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
if you have a completely, I saw a girl, I think she hit 77 or 79. Yeah, I mean, it was
That's really
equivalent
hard.
to 108. We
Yeah.
looked it up. I mean, it's recently, it hit my algorithm on YouTube. I was flipping around on the TV, and this girl was, I think she was either 70, 77 or 79, one of those two. And she was
That's
obviously gassing people up.
yeah. You got no chance at that, dude. That's
No shot. The reaction time's ridiculous, especially if you have anything off speed. But softball's one of those things. Like if you have a really good pitcher, maybe you win 50-0. I don't know, but that's incredible. That's 99 runs in any stick and ball sport is ridiculous.
but again, I think I looked up. I looked. I can't remember. I think there was like 11 hits. The full stats weren't in max preps or anything, but I think
Probably not enough room.
yeah, there weren't. It was a lot of walks. I think Southeast walked like over 30 kids, and I didn't see Smithfield stats. So that's hey. So congratulations, I guess
Hey,
to
somebody gets a W. At least those teams are playing each other. One of them has a chance to get one win. I can't imagine you get two.
no, and it's one of those things when we play. So our girls had pretty good teams, and when we played Southeast Raleigh, it's always like, geez, we gotta. It's one of those games like, do we want to play this game because it's
not even really fun for either
well,
team.
yeah, and it's like the pitch is like almost like a modified slow pitch, and it kind of messes your swing, and you got to treat it like that, and sometimes I'm like, oh well, this could be a maybe it fills your stats up a little bit. You pick up a few RBIs, a couple of hits here and there, and but how much does it jack up your swing because you're facing really bad competition? I mean, I don't know if it matters that much. And but I remember my oldest, her senior year, they were supposed to play him, and it was towards the end of the season, and there was a couple rain days, but then they're trying to make up on Saturday, and Southeast like we don't have enough girls to be here, so they ended up getting a forfeit victory,
Beautiful.
which is like I think you win a forfeit like 7-0. You get like 1 run per. So I was like, like that could have been a game when he picked up a few RBIs and stuff like that. Yeah, to like it kind of pad some stats or whatever. I guess it doesn't really matter, but yes, that's so. Anyway,
Hey,
congratulations.
I saw a guy talk about, and I guess it's true. I've never thought about it, but there's a guy on the old interweb talking about as far as recruiting and stuff that literally high school stats essentially don't even matter anymore. I was blown away by that, and I mean I guess it doesn't to some extent, right? If you got a guy throwing 95 and he has a 4 ERA in high school, something's off.
Maybe a red flag. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something off, but either way, he's throwing 95. You can put a gun on it and tell.
95.
But
Yeah.
even kids hitting, because there's so many people that really can't judge like a hit or an error, and you have
Man.
people that are completely unbashfully biased, right?
Oh, geez, yeah.
And so you end up in situations where the kid's pitching, and all of a sudden they got a kid they don't necessarily like. Kid dives, ball tips off his glove, and that's an error. Well, if somebody else is pitching, that's a hit. And it
It's always
kind of
funny.
has.
Yeah, it's always funny to look at kind of to compare game changers or yeah game changers these days score books traditionally I guess and say like oh yeah and my wife has typically done the scorebook for the high school and some
Well, you
things
have sent me stuff, and you've had people argue over stuff, and I'm like, no, that's an error. And I was like,
yeah
well, you
and
had to take
she's
a
yeah
step. And it's like, dude,
she's very fair about it and
yeah,
it's
I
tough
thought she
yeah
was. And I think probably aired in favor of the girls when it was in question. But when it was obviously not in question, it was, it is what it is. Right.
yeah
And so I don't know. It just, it's really not that hard of a job. There's probably 2 or 3 calls a game, maybe, where it's questionable. And
yeah
you just got to get the bet. But anyway, that kind of goes back to how stats can vary significantly. Especially, you're not talking a ton of at bats in 25 game season. You're talking
yeah 75
100,
bats probably
120 at bats. Yeah.
yeah if yeah around no 75 maybe 100-ish right maybe I don't know so hey, the other thing that I had the pleasure of doing last night Brian was relacing a portion of my son's baseball glove.
I want to do that. I'm not great at that. I mean, there's a guy who does a great video on it, and he like shows you. It's captivating. It's almost like watching I don't know, not like when you see somebody scraping off something, and it's like,
That's
oh,
one
this is
of those
great.
videos called yeah the kids my kids is like it's just so
Soothing video. I don't think that's the right
yeah
word, but yeah, I mean, guys who do it, they're doing like clip, 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 and then
yeah
you see him pulling the strings through, Were you
Yeah.
pretty smooth with it? Do you have all the proper? The key to it, I think, is the proper tools.
I've got a couple too. I've got one that looks like a pencil. It's got like, and then you basically screw the leather, the new leather into the bottom of it and pull it through like a neat, like you're sewing, right? And then there's the other one that's like the hook, and the needle one wouldn't work for me, so I used the hook one, and you put it in, you pull it through. You're basically like, so basically for me, I'm following the pattern. I pull it out, and then I pull the leather right behind it, and just try to kind of keep track of it that way. But man, some of those gloves, the lacing, I have no idea how some of it gets to where it is and how it ties to different parts of it. And but when you're done, you've kind of tied it and got it nice and tight, and ooh, like it's pretty rewarding.
It is very satisfying. I mean, anytime you can and get it, and you put the new leather in, or if you use a little different color, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
well,
go completely? Did you go completely new?
no. So I didn't. So it snapped like the kind of the thumb, or where the web meets the thumb kind of thing. So I had to just kind of a portion of it. But I didn't have any leather, so I actually had an old glove outside. So I took the leather out of an old glove and used that, because that was I don't know what it was from, but we used the old glove leather. So it worked out. Worked out
Hey,
pretty well.
speaking of old glove leather, I was driving back from my daughter's lacrosse game tonight, and I almost made a guy into old glove leather. I had a guy walking
Jeez.
down the middle of the street of not a major highway, but a side. I mean, it's a real highway or road, side road, where the speed limit's 55. Middle
Okay.
of the street, big stick, yelling at me. Looked like he may have been possessed a little bit. I almost kind of thought about weaving into him. Just I'm pimping a caddy right now. I almost thought about just giving him a little bump, throwing him in the humongous trunk, taking him on to the house. See if we couldn't have a conversation.
What was so okay? You were just cruising down the road.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
you saw? Did you have your brights on? Did you see like?
No. Wasn't in an area where I'd met some cars
Okay,
previously.
so no
I'm not an
brights.
automatic flicker. This is an old enough caddy where it doesn't automatically go to brights.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, I was slowing down. I was right for a railroad track, but it's a railroad track you can go 45 over easy, even in the caddy with, it's almost like being on the boat.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's air ride. Maybe it feels like I hear some noises in the back that I feel like it's kind of
You got
rebalancing my
you got
weight.
hydraulics on there. Your Dayton's, I know.
Yeah, I've got my
Wait,
22.
so what kind of was this, like a walking stick, or was this a cane? Or
It was a very large, like Moses would have carried, something like that.
so a staff?
So
It was a staff.
yes, I think staff is the more appropriate. So he's carrying a staff down the road, waving it like maybe he's trying to bring down the thunder on me. And I mean, there was one little small piece of me. I was like, I want to hit this stupid mother humper, and so, but I didn't. I did not hit him. I did not hit him.
Did he look like he may have been homeless, or like on drugs, or what?
Probably all of the above, either on his way to homeless, on drugs, was on drugs, wants drugs. Any of those are possibilities, but I did not hit him.
Did he swing? Did he swing at you on the way by?
Yeah. So it was kind of, I caught him and I saw him and then kind of give it a big wave, like maybe he was casting a spell onto me. So we'll know if I wake up tomorrow and third eye or whatever the case may be.
Like a penis growing out of your forehead or something?
Yeah, that would not be great, but I have had some skin issues, but a penis wouldn't add any good looks because I do sell as you do, and so that would be hard to explain. Like if you had a big penis growing out of your forehead.
That would be odd. Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. Well, I mean, hey, so let's
So no
see how it
leather.
is.
I didn't turn him into leather. But
Okay, that's good. I'm glad your impulses didn't take over there.
it's kind of funny though. You think about it, like cow leather to gloves. Is there another material? Wasn't there a brand of glove that used like kangaroo skin at one time?
I had some kangaroo leather spikes in high school. It was Pony. Remember Pony?
Yeah.
Pony had some kangaroo. It's really soft, man, like super soft. But they tore up so quick because being a pitcher, you drag that back foot.
Oh yeah.
And they tore up. And this was like prior to like pitching toe. Like pitching toes were kind of evolving. Man, I had some. My dad. And
I wonder if you could have like
their
covered it in
best.
like chicken skin. Chicken skin's pretty durable.
Yeah, we would put shoe goo. Remember shoe goo?
Yeah.
like my dad would like coat a layer of that on there and try to make it look good. They had some of those guards. It was like a hard plastic thing you kind of tied on your shoelace. They put on. I just went straight like athletic tape for a little while.
I
Just
like that. That's full, like, just, I'm getting it done. I'm not worried about my
yeah.
equipment.
I'll have to look back. I don't have much video. I have one video. It's VHS. I gotta find a VCR first of me like in high school pitching. When I was on the news one time, they came and videoed some stuff, and um, I'll have to go back and see. I think I was wearing like tape around my shoe that game. I'll double
Just
check.
hard nosed country boy from
Yeah,
upper part of Virginia. But you adopted the culture
yeah.
of the area that you
I'd been
grew
in
up
North Carolina for 7 years at that point.
in.
I
You were
was
full in.
certified redneck at this point. Oh golly.
Awesome.
Man. So all right, well hey, we appreciate you listening today. And you know what? If you're out there trying to get your college degree, hey, keep working hard. Get that degree. It'll
Avoid
be
people in the
valuable
middle of
for
the
you.
road.
Yeah, don't listen to us about everything. But that's just our story. That's my story. That's what I had to face. And just there's adversity out there everywhere for you. And yeah, it kind of shows you who you are, what type of resiliency you have, and team sports I think is a big part of that. So you know what, play team sports as well. We encourage that. So hey, thank you for listening today. We appreciate it. Make sure you continue to like and subscribe on all the socials and all the podcast platforms, and make sure you're giving us ratings on whatever platform you listen to as well. We appreciate that, and that helps us out tremendously. So hey, go out, make it a great hump day.
Out, go Pack, 11-5.